Hi, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you about anger and how parents experience anger when their child misbehaves. And the reason that this is important to understand is that it gives you a better understanding of what you can do instead of reacting with anger and emotion. Really, when it comes down to children and anger between parents, in my experience in working with different families over a decade, what I found is what makes the parent most angry is this. They're angry because the child is not behaving the way they want their child to behave. That really is it. If their child behaved the way the parent wanted the child to behave, no anger. But when the child deviates from that, it really makes these emotions very strong about anger. Even if the parent has told the child what to do and the expectation is there for the parent, the child deviates a little bit and then the emotions start to come out. And it usually comes out through yelling, through adult tantrums, I guess that's what I'll call it. Adult tantrums where they're just so frustrated and so upset. And it's usually in the form of words like, I can't believe they did this. I can't believe my child behaved this way. After I told them a million times, okay? Again, we understand where the anger comes from. Now let's understand where the child comes from. We have this developing baby who's dependent on a parent to tell them what to do when they're first born. And as the child begins to grow, there's a certain amount of independence. Especially around 3 or 4, you're going to notice that kids don't want you to help them do things anymore. Okay, the things that you normally did for them, they're going to be like, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. This trend will continue as the child grows. Up into their teen years, it's even more pushback. Now, why is that? It's because they're creating independence. So what does that mean? Okay, we have one track where the parents like, do what I say, because you're going to be better off for it, your life is going to be better, and they get angry when you don't. And yet we have this child who's like, I need to be independent, and I need to find my own way and figure things out on my own. So it creates this environment with the parent-child relationship where they're bound to clash, especially around teenage years when the child is really more independent than they have been when they were younger. The general idea behind smarter parenting, the skill of observe and describe on the Smarter Parenting website, is to help parents disconnect and grow along with the development of your child. So in the skill, for example, one of the essential skills on Smarter Parenting is observe and describe. It's the first skill. It sounds like it's the easiest skill, but there are components to it that are very, very difficult, which is managing your emotional response, right? As the child is continuing to grow and they're completely dependent to where they're independent, and you see this pushback away from parents, observe and describe helps you along that way, along the whole way, if you learn to disconnect the emotional response to what your children is doing and how they're responding. Sounds like a super difficult thing to turn off that emotional response, but it is a skill that parents need to master as your child grows. Because if you respond emotionally, what you do is you set up these boundaries of what's safe and what's not safe to talk about or to do with your child. So just be aware of those things. Visit the Observe and Describe lesson so you can learn how to use this skill. But again, it's one of those essential, easy, sounds super easy to do, but super difficult to do, mainly because of that emotional component. And remember, we have those two tracks. We have the child who's pushing towards independence. We have the parent who's wanting the child to do what they say and when they want them to do it and expecting them to follow through. They don't match. The two developmental things just don't match. And so it needs to be a mindset for the parent to understand my child is going to make mistakes. My child is not going to do what I want them to do. My child is figuring out how to create this independence and how the world works. And as a parent, you need to turn off that emotional response and say, okay, this is my child figuring things out. Let me guide them along the path to a better way. Now, does that mean you can't correct your child? Absolutely not. You need to correct your child. But you can do that in a safe and effective way and still maintain a relationship of trust. So later on, when they're really, really independent, they don't actually push you away to a point where you don't have a relationship anymore. That's what you do not want. So again, remember, a child's development towards independence a parent wanting the child to do what they say along the way, you really don't want that. You really don't want your child to do everything you say all the time, because that actually robs them of growing up into independence. Just be aware of those things. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and your comments in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit the Smarter Parenting website for some of these skills, especially with Observe and Describe. I really, really, really hope that you will go and visit that page just so you can master that particular skill, because it's one of those skills that you're going to use actually as your child grows all the way up into adulthood.